Everyone everywhere is playing pretend. One of my biggest irritations is unfortunately something I've also participated in, because trying to figure out this weird new kind of online culture and how to operate within it is an ongoing, never-ending task for me and people like me. But you, I'm sure, have seen people faking up emotions in order to react to a thing with the correct angles and the right lighting on social media. It's not something that is uncommon really at all. I'm sure you've seen somebody doing this particular act when you're scrolling through whatever social media you happen to go to. What you see is a lot of reaction videos. Let me give you in behind the scenes a little bit. Most reaction videos, when I say most, I mean like 99% of reaction videos are all fake and all staged. And not necessarily fake as in they don't exist, it's that you see the video beforehand. Nobody, in most cases, is reacting blindly to things. In other words, it is not the first time you see it, and even if it is, the person that's reacting to that video of, somebody doing something crazy or something crazy happening knows that there's a camera in their face. Everybody knows who's making these videos that, well, one, chances are it's not the first time they actually saw it, so they know they have to amuse the crowd by feigning some emotion that's going to engage well with their audience. And two, the emotion that may actually genuinely be felt, if in fact this is the first time they've seen this particular video footage, is exaggerated, because that's what you do when a camera's on you. You exaggerate your hand motions. I don't do this as much in real life, probably with my hands, and I don't necessarily know, well, I did it again. It just happens organically. My point is that so many people, so often, especially on social media, are constantly playing pretend with their emotions. In these reaction videos, reacting to these stories, talking about these stories, and I'll openly admit it, I do it too. I try my best to not. I try more frequently to post, stand-up videos or videos I give from a speech or something like that, rather than just reacting to the viral clip of the day. Because at the end of the day, the behind-the-scenes account is that everybody doing them is to some extent pretending. I think, personally, that's not healthy for the people doing it, but also the viewer itself. And yet, people continue to do it. Which brings us to the question as to why. Why do people continue to fake up or exaggerate real emotions when reacting to a story that would warrant probably some sort of disgust? Why is it that we have to performatively put on the act of being disgusted, right? When I read an article of something terrible happening, let's just say, for example, parents in a particular municipality lose the rights to their kids' medical information for one reason or other. That's a story that is disgusting. If I'm just reading that to myself, I am disgusted by it. That is an emotion that I genuinely have inside of me, but I'm just reading the article. I'm not, doing anything. But if I'm reading the article out loud in front of a camera, there is a performative component that comes into it, whether you like it or not. And again, whether I like it or not, that's just what happens. There is a performative element to this whole kind of media internet dynamic, all the way up from, politics at the highest level. The president is performative in his politics. The vice president is performative in her politics. Political actors, we call them political actors, like they literally are actors, all the way down to the most infinitesimally significant reaction videos to something funny you have online. Everybody in every level here is performing to some extent. The question is to why? Why are they doing that? Well, the surfacey level answer to that is, well, because it gets views, it gets clicks, it works to an extent. I've seen it work. I understand responses to things, but blind reactions to again, viral video in which you're intently watching the video and then the facial emotion and the reaction, and then you look at the camera and then you go, I cannot believe that happened. I get it. Like I said, I've done those videos. But it doesn't make them any less weird. I feel weird doing them. I feel weird editing them and cutting them. And I know that all my friends who do that same thing, and I'm not necessarily trying to knock them for doing it, because at the end of the day, it does work. feel weird. We all feel weird doing it. But why? Why then do they continue doing it? Well, again, because it works. Then you have to ask the question, well, why does it work? And I think the reason it works is actually a pretty important facet of our culture that we need to understand better if we want to turn the culture in the direction that we want to turn it. It is a way of thought that has been used for centuries. It is not a new thought, but in the modern world, Ben Shapiro is credited with saying facts don't care about your feelings. And when he made that statement, and that statement went viral, I don't think he was not nearly the big a deal that he is today, but people loved it because it's true. Facts don't care about your feelings. Here's the caveat, and here's the addition probably to that statement, because I believe that statement wholeheartedly. Here's the addition to that statement that I think conservatives need to know and need to recognize, especially going forward in this modern day and age. Facts don't care about your feelings, but elections do. In other words, people vote based on their emotions. And people like feeling emotions. And when you're scrolling through Instagram or TikTok or YouTube Shorts or Twitter or Facebook or whatever your social media platform of choice, you want to feel an emotion. And the reason creators do reaction videos is to convey their emotion onto you. And in a way, there's this sort of symbiotic relationship that's built between the viewer and the creator by conveying an emotion that is simultaneously felt by the person performing the emotion and the person receiving the emotion. That's why reaction videos work, is that emotions exist. Facts don't care about your feelings, but feelings have a big impact on how somebody acts and how somebody behaves. We win on all of the facts. That just goes without saying. Our ideas are better because they're grounded in things that are more truthful than a lot of your liberal ideas. But liberals are better at winning on cultural grounds because they appeal solely to emotions. Now, while I think it's a good thing to argue on the merits of an idea and how it would actually affect a society that it's going to go, we should debate laws by how it's going to work in reality. There also is this component of emotion that we so often neglect. And we can prove it exists by how popular those reaction videos are when you're scrolling through social media platforms. Those reaction videos and the success that they have prove that the emotion component exists, and it exists at a level that I don't think I even want to admit. And even when we're making better arguments and making better cases for our ideas based in reality and truth and fact, we do ourselves a disservice to completely neglect the emotional component that everybody has. So, in the end and in culmination, and the final thought here is, in the Trump situation going on there, where people are make-believe pretending that this is a big deal, and it is a big deal from a cultural standpoint, but the case itself just factually is not. To the Israel-Hamas war, where people are getting so worked up with their emotions, to the Alito flag, which is the mainstream media pretending that something is real and using emotions to justify what they believe is the correct course. With all of that encompassing in how we navigate through the changing of culture, we do ourselves a disservice to neglect emotion. Conservatives need to neglect emotion at their own peril. And my hope is that while we continue to make the rational, logical arguments that we've always made, we also make sure to help satisfy the emotional component by way of reason even, but through arts and through comedy, through music. We need to infect the emotional component the same way the lefties do, so that we can not only have the rational and logical arguments, but also the emotional ability to compel people to do what is right and do what is just.